making its first appearance. Lothar's
Lothar's
waving it
about
around.
to drop
that
the
wasn't
patch.
right.
Yep.
Something went the wrong way there. He's going to go ahead and mulligan that away, I expect.
I was a little afraid because I thought this was a personal screen for a second, but then it wasn't, thankfully, so it did mulligan first and then, had a patch pirate card in his hand.
Right. Okay, well, Lothar plays Swashbuckler, gets Blood Imp. Doesn't seem that strong, but it is a 1-mana card, and therefore does synergize very well with Edwin Van Cleef.
And Cold Blood, it also can.
Yeah.
This matchup, actually, I'm a little interested since the Miracle Rogue tends to win this matchup a little more than the others. But Aggro Rogue, will it prevail against Reno? I'm not so sure.
Already, Lothar has to make some really hard decisions here because he could actually go ahead and play Swashbuckler and maybe Cold Blood up one of the minions he has on the board and start dealing the damage, as he's against a Warlock that doesn't have the ability all the time to deal 1 damage. However, as we can see, there's a Mortal Coil, there's a Demon Round in Pavel's hand. So, from what we can see, it looks like just coining out Edwin Van Cleef would be the safest play to make. Though
that would be the safest play, but it would not be the biggest play for its value because you usually want a Van Cleef to be 6/6 or 8/8 in this matchup, especially with so many 1-drops in his deck. He's not going to be happy with the just 4/4, or even backstepping his own 1/1. That wouldn't be that great either. Ooh,
Curse of the Farm. That is much more relevant versus the Reno Mage, as we saw a little bit last weekend during the playoffs. Only yesterday, actually, there were some games where Curse of the Farm became incredibly relevant versus the Ice Block. However, as I said, not so relevant against the Warlock. Lothar did go ahead, buff up the 1-mana minion with Cold Blood, kind of as expected, but unfortunately, it did just blow up. And now...
And he's gonna go for a Blood Imp coin Edwin. I think that's the only allowed play here.
It seems good. He gets 6/7 Edwin.
Yeah. Yeah, it will not be 6/6, it'll be 6/7 because it gets buffed up by the Blood Imp.
And actually, Pavel doesn't have an instant answer for it.
He might have them next turn.
Okay, I don't know what
5 damage, that's a pretty strong card.
Yeah, he got offered it the first time but didn't take it. I don't know what he did take the first time.
Yeah, it should be that difficult for Lothar to clear this.
I imagine Lothar... I was about to say I imagine he wants to go as wide as possible to kind of protect the Edwin, but problem is there are Kazakus potions that would just clear the board anyway. He might just...
Also, shittable. Depends on what the Imp buffs. Oh, okay, he clears the Kazakus with a backstab. Alright.
Yeah. I was wondering if he'd play backstab and SI7 agent, but okay. Not wanting to go too wide. It's now a 6/8 Edwin.
Ooh,
but there we go. That is exactly what Pavel
clear.
wanted. Oh my goodness. How devastating for Lothar.
Well, he still does have a Zero Drake. By no means, he's still an aggressor. I'm not sure how many cards that are so aggressive he has left in the deck. I know he has a Beast Rates, he has the 1 Sassy deckhand, and, a bunch of other pirates.
He's building up the burst. Funnily enough, like Deadly Poison, SI7 Agent, and Curse of a Farm is 6 burst on top of the 1 damage the weapon already has when he plays it. So he doesn't quite have the mana, but otherwise he's 7 off lethal.
7 off lethal, knowing that the Reno Warlock is likely gonna either put a taunt or heal himself for 3 at a time most time, unless he plays Reno. Might not be good enough. Not gonna be good enough for now.
Lothar only ever wins this matchup if he wins it quickly, though, as I think will be a common trend for all of his, all of the decks that he's playing in this series.
Yes, the aggro decks. He has brought 3 aggro decks, so the game is gonna go relatively quickly. And he goes for Deadly Poison and SI7 Agent.
I like it. Just
I like it because the odds of Pavel having taunt soon is pretty high. So he wants to get rid of. He want to use his physical damage as fast as he can early on, and then deal the rest of the damage with the cards like Curse of Rafam or Eviscerate.
Oh, Pavel is going to go ahead by the looks of it and play Dirty Rat, pulling out the Azure Drake, which is good and bad. It's good for Pavel because it does actually prevent a card draw from Lothar, which could be vital. However, it does put this 4/4 body on the board that wasn't there prior.
Refreshment Vendor is going to be really good for Pavel, though. It's up to 13 health now.
Yeah, and that Buccaneer is really awkward. The maths isn't so great on that.
The Lothar can play everything, but he's also going to lose everything if he plays everything.
Pavel's just now got to bide his time until he picks up the Reno Jackson. He might try and life tap a little bit. He's got Earthen Ring Farseer in his hand to kind of counteract one of those life taps. He's got Siphon Soul, which also heals him. He could Siphon Soul this turn while also clearing the board.
So many answers he has. He can also destroy the weapon and kill a 2/1 so that Lothar only is left with the 1 damage weapon max. But he's not going to die for now. He's just going to board clear. And get rid of the 2 damage that he's been continuously, well, only for 1 turn, been getting.
Yeah, I mean, Pavel actually really playing aggressively here by developing that Mountain Giant. And unfortunately for Lothar, I don't think there's much he can do about it. I don't think there's... Like, even Leroy Jenkins here would not be lethal. It'd be 1 damage off. And Pavel's only going to heal himself this turn.
Yeah. Sylvanas and Earthling Farseer sounds really good.
If he wanted to be really safe, he could even consider playing Siphon Soul on his 1/1, as well as Earthen Ring.
I don't know if that's a reasonable, since Lothar, at maximum, he has 2 cards.
Oh,
so
yeah,
what we're expecting is Leroy and Eviscerate, I guess, or Cold Blood. And that is a 10-12 damage. Well, you know what, actually, maybe we'll do that.
It's probably unnecessary, but Pavel is doing all of the calculations right now. He's going to go ahead and do it. Decided.
Here's the thing, though. Like, he could have destroyed the Acidic Swampus, and then, well, he could have destroyed the Lothar's weapon with his Swampus, and Lothar would be, even with the Leroy Jenkins, would be still 1 damage off lethal.
Right. Well, Pavel, I guess, after making the start of that move, he did the maths. He decided, actually, the chances of Lothar killing me next turn are very, very low, but they're higher than 0%. And therefore, I'm going to go ahead and make the safest play that I can. And now, it's 1 damage off lethal for Pavel, but the chances of him picking it up are very high. There's the
Hellfire is drawn.
And Pavel, with his control deck, going to make the score, control versus aggro, 1-0 to start off this series.
Pro rules. I'm really happy to see the Reno deck finally making out. I didn't really see that many Reno Warlocks, at least today.
I know that you're a big fan of Control. From conversations that we had recently, I know that you believe that Control is a little bit stronger than aggro right now. Is that right?
Not necessarily. You can counter aggro decks with the Control decks, but you can counter the Control decks with the other aggro decks, so...
Okay.
Not necessarily, but you can bring a lineup of only controls and do pretty well, depends on your event.
Right. Well,
just
next
like
up...
Pavel might be doing.
Next up, it's going to be Lothar's Aggro Shaman, which is, again, in the same vein that we've seen all of the other Aggro Shamans, running Aya and not Doomhammer as their late game. The common trend now, versus Pavel's Reno Mage, which is not running Solia. In fact,
it's not run Pyroblast either. So it's more of the version that came out about 2-3 weeks ago, I would say, and 2-3 weeks ago or so. And then it's been pretty solid. It's just that this particular Reno Mage deck might even do better versus aggro decks. Just that
I think so.
One tends to lose versus the mirror that runs the Solia and Antonidas.
Yes, exactly, and also Reno Lock as well. The addition of Solia and Pyroblast really increase that matchup. But you're right, against aggro, I think this list is pretty great. Obviously, you've got the typical Volcanic Potion, Doomsayer. This list runs Dirty Rat as well. And also Bran Kazakus, which is
Usually you will say
relevant.
Cabal Career, but I'm seeing Earthling Farseer at its place, so you can see that, well, he definitely expected a lot of aggro in this. Lothar having not too shabby starting hand. He didn't play turn 1, obviously, because the Pavel will just ping and kill it. Ooh. And Lothar, oh no, he doesn't have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lothar
there'll be 1 damage off killing the Doomsayer now.
Lothar didn't get the 1-drop
No,
on turn
but
1
he
that he
wanted.
wanted to. However, it does mean that this Doomsayer is doing less damage potentially. Did Lothar just miscount this? Oh no, he's got patches. I'm being stupid. He's able to actually kill the Doomsayer after all.
Exactly. 7 damage.
Patches doing what Patches does best. I feel like killing Doomsayers is one of the...
Yeah, that's what Fetch does the best, I think.
Yeah,
Even
I think
in Warrior Deck, you can just have the Fire War Axe, and then the small time between your Fire War Axe and Patch kills it. I've been seeing that quite often these days. So here we have the Pavel. I would say his plays are a little off. He can ping and kill both 2-1 health minions.
What is going on?
But is that going to be good enough?
Lothar, shiver me timbers. He's just enjoying living the pirate life right now. Sorry to interrupt your analysis with Lothar's memes, but...
He used the pirate after... Ooh, what a great draw for Lothar.
Wow. This is something that he and his teammate RDU have in common by the looks of it.
Yes.
Slow start, but then picking up the Flaming Faceless on turn 4.
On turn 4, exactly.
Very good time to pick it up, actually.
Now the Pavel doesn't have a really good answer to this. If a Lothar let the ooze leave, then he could go for the Pavel could just the ping, but that's not the case. The Lothar is just gonna go and kill the ooze, and he still has 11 damage on board. Now I think the only thing Lothar is scared would be Frost Nova into. Wait, I don't actually think the Pavel runs a Frost Nova, never mind. He knows the deck list, but typically he would be scared.
It's interesting.
So he goes all in.
It's interesting that Pavel choosing not to run Frost Nova. It obviously makes situations like this significantly worse.
Yeah.
Like
that's why actually the Solia list is so popular, because Solia and the combo, the Pyroblast one, tends to run Frost Nova more often, and that's really good also.
Dirty Rat into Frost Nova here, for example, would have been a very nice way of stalling out for one more turn. Pavel, however, forced to play the Ice Block, probably expecting the Ice Block to get popped this turn, and just hoping that he can pick up Reno Jackson soon. Though that might not even be good enough, because even if he did Reno up to full health next turn, Lothar still has this massive board.
Well, Lothar does have to get through the 2-6 taunt, which is pretty strong. And if the Pavel goes and pick up the Reno.
Yeah,
all right.
That does pop the Ice Block. That's not good for Pavel. No matter what way you look at it, this is not good for Pavel.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, hey, can Pavel do anything here? Is anything going right for Pavel? But everything in this matchup seems not going too well for him.
What is the best possible turn for him here? Like Reno, coin,
It has to be Reno, first of all.
Yeah.
Since he doesn't run, well, I guess he could actually top deck the Blizzard, and Lothar doesn't get anything, but he didn't have any answers, so he can seize. And Lothar evening up the series against world champion Pavel.
Yeah. Quite right to concede there. Lothar just showing off his team, showing the support. I'm quite enjoying these little interactions going on Lothar's face cam here.
Instead of using physical props, he's using camera and images.
Well, you can't physically hold Hearthstone cards, so as he did earlier with patches, waving it around the screen, I like it. Nice little makeshift makeshift patches. Anyway, we're one game up for each player now. Sorry, Lothar's just entertaining me too much. I can't help it. And next game is going to be Pavel's Reno Lock, which we did see defeat Lothar's Rogue, but it's going to be against Lothar's Dragon Warrior. Ooh. So Dragon Warrior has been pretty popular today, actually. I think we've seen as much of it as we have Aggro Warrior, right?
Wait, are we sure this is the Dragon Warrior?
Oh, no, my mistake. I must have been looking at someone else's deck list.
Yeah.
Okay, rewind. Thank you for saving me there. It's actually just an Aggro Warrior.
Yeah, just pure aggro with the 1 South Sea Captain in the deck just to save the patches.
Yep, I must have
Pavel
been...
once again looking for trouble, basically. Like, in this matchup, you just you struggle your best to survive for 5-6 turns, and if you can pick up a Reno, Hellfire, Demon Wrath, those AoEs are early on into single target removals late game, it works out, but otherwise you're just gonna struggle to death.
Right. It's just one of these games which ends very, very fast either way, isn't it? Like, again, it's kind of like, does Frothing Berserker live? If so, Warrior wins.
Yeah, in this matchup, it's either the game is decided by turn 6, and Warrior wins, or Warlock wins after 20 turns of struggle.
Well, yeah, unless the Warrior concedes by then.
Lothar is triggered. But he will go face instead of killing it. I've seen a lot of people actually just killing the 2/2 here, because if a Pavel player, if a Warlock in this case has cards like Mortal Coil and Board Clear, you have to kill it late, and then if you kill it late and Warlock still heals, then you just wasted 2 damage.
I think the logic behind Lothar going face here is because he can either coin out Frothing Berserker next turn and then make a trade, or alternatively coin out South Sea Captain. He's got 2 pirates on the board.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what he's going for.
Yeah, but Pavel is almost definitely going to Mortal Coil one of these minions and probably hit the Mistress into the other. Though Frothing Berserker will still be okay next turn.
Yeah, Frothing Berserker can be a 4/4 if Pavel doesn't Mortal Coil this, and Lothar is really not happy here to see that. I think the Pavel noticed that Lothar might have Frothing Berserker, since the Lothar did not kill the 2/2 1-drop minion that is pretty strong on board.
Right. Well, there we go.
Both players heals for 2. How even?
Now, Pavel...
How fair.
Pavel has a few choices. It looks like he's going for Soulfire. I think that's... If you play Peddler, that's what you're going for, right? You're just going for Soulfire. Definitely. You have to get rid of that Frothing Berserker.
Doesn't really matter what you discard in this particular scenario.
No,
I guess Kazakus would be the worst.
Like, what's more valuable now? Kazakus later, or the ability to get rid of that Frothing Berserker now? I think that Kazakus is less valuable in this scenario.
I mean, if you do go for a Bronze Spear, your opponent is going to kill it. Ooh, he does not go for a panel. He goes for a life tap. He's looking for cards like... But there's no guarantee here, obviously, that we'll get the Soulfire. Odds are not actually that high if you think about it. There are so many 1-drops out there.
Yeah, it's true, there are. However, obviously, you get the little increase in chance to get Soulfire because it's a Warlock card. Though you could equally get Power Overwhelmings and Possess Villagers, which would be useless in this situation.
And if that doesn't happen and Lothar gets something like an upgrade of a weapon, or even Fire War Axe, it just increases the Frothing Berserker's attack. And that would not be too good. So I respect this play a lot.
Unfortunately,
and now actually Pavel can play... Go ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately for Pavel, he's able to make his board... Lothar's able to make his board nice and wide. Only really weak to Hellfire this turn, but Hellfire is not good enough because of how much it buffs the Frothing Berserker.
Even Hellfire would not be that great. Ooh.
Pavel,
none of those three options looked the best at the end, unfortunately for
I don't know what
Pavel.
the first option
but we
was.
don't. Yeah, we did not get to see
he
the
took
first
it
one.
very quickly, which implies to me it was deal 4 damage to all minions.
Possibly.
Just the speed that he took
armor.
it.
Or armor.
Or armor, yeah. Because he took it before we even got a chance to see what they were.
Mm-hmm. Here, the Lothar can go for a Fireworks and Red Corsair, and an 8. Looks like that's the play. The only thing Lothar scores, obviously, here is the 4 damage AoE. They might not even actually go for Red Corsair. Especially he'll be playing into the mind control tech if the Pavel runs it. Oh, he does not actually run it. Deal 4 damage right there, and summon 2 friendly minions out this game. That is the greatest thing Pavel could have done. He also will heal for another 4.
Yeah, getting Mistress of Mixtures from that revive is huge for Pavel. He really wants to find that Reno Jackson that's been missing for the last couple of games. But what he doesn't need to worry about now is clearing Lothar's board, because the bulk of that is gone, and it's going to be difficult for Lothar to build it back up again.
Lothar has a couple choices here. One, he can go with a Dread Corsair and South Captain and buff the Corsair up to 4/4 so that Pavel has to run both of them in. Or he can go for Korkan Elite and Smoke Cork. We go face. While still putting up the taunt. I actually like the South Captain, although it is a bit of a waste of the mana because you can still Heroic Strike and Korkan Elite.
Yeah, he can do that next turn, can't he? Korkan Heroic Strike. The more I think about it, the more I don't mind that play, but this is the first one that jumped out at me. The one Lothar's going for right now. It allows him to put Pavel down to 7.
I think you actually have to clear the 3/3 or ignore the whole thing.
Wow.
If this is the case.
And Pavel not actually picking up anything that useful. He's still got the second-rate bruiser that he can use to defend himself a little bit more against Lothar's board. He gets to heal himself back up to 14. Otherwise, what does Pavel have at the moment?
He can actually go for Bronze Spirit into Dark Peddler to draw into that 1 damage Pavel is missing to clear the board and heal himself for 4.
Alright, well, there's Voidwalker.
Hey, there's a powerful Lemmy. That's not 1 damage, but 4 damage he needed.
True.
Or he can use right now.
He is really building up the taunts as well. Now we're thinking about it. Second-rate bruiser, Voidwalker. There is the Faceless Shambler 2. Now Pavel's dealing with the 3/3 while also healing himself back up to 14. Kazakus goes into the Korkan Elite. It's going to be difficult for Lothar to find this damage. He needs Arcanite Reaper as soon as possible.
He does have a lot of damage here though, because that's a 3 damage charge with the South Captain, and he has 7 damage, so he can bring Pavel down to 4 this turn.
Is Lothar running... Lothar is running 1 Mortal Strike as well. So
that's what he's going to need, because Pavel for sure is going to put up some taunts. And late game, taunts are really, really good against warriors. Ooh, wow. Pavel has so many taunts in his hand. He can put up 4 taunts.
Well, he has the ability for 6 in total if he uses Faceless Manipulator to copy a taunt as well.
Yes, that'll be the next turn, though.
That's the completely unrealistic analysis of Pavel's hand and the amount of taunts that he can come out with, but it's always possible. I think you're right. I think Lothar's only win condition here is that Mortal Strike. This is where we really see this is a card game, and it is, I think, going to come down to the cards. Can Mortal Strike be picked up before Reno Jackson is picked up by Pavel?
I don't actually know how many cards, how many Mortal Strike he runs. And he runs 1.
Mortal Strike, yeah.
Ooh, the odds are against him right now. Lothar gonna be chipping down his health every turn now, because Pavel's only gonna get stronger and stronger board every
Another
turn.
taunt.
Another taunt. Might as well just play it. Lothar only has 1 card, and if that was a minion, for sure Lothar would have played it.
To be fair, Pavel only runs 1 Reno Jackson in his deck as well.
Yes, true. But he also runs a few other healing factors, and that's what it matters.
Yeah, and also Pavel has Leroy and Faceless Manipulator in his hand. That's 12 damage of burst, and he is building up the damage on the board, so Lothar really is running out of time to find this Mortal Strike.
Will the Lothar get his Mortal Strike this turn? Will he survive until next? We're about to find out when Pavel ends his turn. He's thinking after he did play everything he could, but he's just waiting and thinking about the odds. Running numbers, just like poker players.
Right? Well, he is world champion for a reason. He knows the maths, he knows the Hearthstone card pool pretty well, and he knows what outs he needs to play to. And so now he's just sitting there hoping that there's no Mortal Strike.
So Pavel has the 14 damage, I believe.
Yeah, so it's
and
26.
He needs another 14. Mm-hmm.
It's 26 in total. So I think Pavel's 2 off lethal this turn, unless I've miscounted. Ooh. Oh no, he doesn't have the mana to play Leroy.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough mana for that. I am not 100% sure about this.
Doesn't really make a huge difference, does it? Like, either way, he beats Lothar in 2 turns. I don't... He could have saved Leroy and played it next turn. Bash is not enough! Bash does not quite do it!
No, the only out he had was Mortal Strike, and he is 1 damage off lethal. 1
damage off. Pavel, again, knowing Lothar's deck.
But, hang on, let's see. So, Lothar can actually bash the Leroy now, unlike he couldn't. Like, if Pavel waited until next turn, it would be sure lethal. But how much damage does Pavel now have?
14. It's not enough now.
Oh boy. This could save Lothar for another turn.
Well then, I was going to say previously, Pavel, knowing that Lothar runs bash in this deck, obviously he's been not playing life tap, keeping himself at forward to play around that. But now it doesn't matter because Lothar was able to push Pavel back for 1 more turn. It all comes down to this next draw.
To this draw that Lothar gets. Pavel might as well just end the life tap here, actually, because he's seen bash. Now he surely knows that there is nothing in Lothar's deck except for Sir Finley and Mortal Strike. Now it actually increased the odds of Lothar getting lethal.
I don't think that this tap does anything bad for Pavel because he knows there's 1 bash in Lothar's deck. And that bash is gone.
But then what if the Lothar gets a Sir Finley into
Oh no, you're right. You're right. So Finley actually does give Lothar an extra out.
Here we go. The extra out. Will it matter? The odds.
No.
Extra odd even. Yep. The double the odds didn't quite matter, unfortunately, for Lothar.
That is so unfortunate for Lothar. He came so close. 2 outs in his deck. So Finley into Steady Shot or Mortal Strike, but unfortunately he wasn't able to pick any of them up. Gets the bash, 1 damage off lethal. Wow,
1 damage off lethal.
What a nail-biting game.
Yeah, but again, very close game.
And 1 more point for Control versus Aggro.
I like how Control... I think the overlay is wrong and it's showing that Warrior has prevailed.
Yeah, you're right. The overlay is wrong. I'm hoping it gets fixed by the time those of you back home can see it. But
so it's gonna come down to. Go ahead.
I was just gonna production. If you can hear us, swap the classes over the Warlock ground. But yeah, okay. Next up, Warlock versus Shaman.
Wow, that was pretty quick. Right into game. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to face, watch the Pavel versus Lothar. Pavel is 2 games up versus, 1 game up. 2-1 versus Lothar. Lothar has to win this. Will the Lothar win against the Reno Warlock finally and get a hope to advance to the next round tomorrow?
Yeah. Again, this is the final series of
All comes
Hearthstone.
down to this.
This is the final series of Hearthstone today. If Pavel wins this game, he goes through to the finals tomorrow, and Lothar will be eliminated. But Lothar has to win this and win next game as well. Shiver me triggers, says Lothar's meme, as he plays patches
that
once
just distracts us from casting. It's like, oh, what is that on the screen? Is that something weird? Is that production? But it's not. So here, whoa, that is a pretty good turn for Lothar. A lot of damage coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, Lothar just going to play as aggressively as he possibly can. Buffs up the small time bucket.
Now, this matchup, by the way, is more favored towards the Shaman than Warrior, because once the taunts comes down from the Reno Warlock, there isn't much Warrior can do, as you've seen. The Pavel just had like 4 or 5 taunts lined up in a row, just waiting for, either Reno or kill Lothar. Whereas Aggro Shaman, they do about the similar or same damage early on, but they have extra outs the late game. They have tons of the spell power, spell damage that will just ignore the taunts and go face.
Yeah, absolutely. The Shaman just has a lot more burst damage than the Warrior does. Ultimately, some of the Pirate Warrior lists nowadays don't even run a single Mortal Strike or Bash, so Lothar actually had that going for him. He at least did run some of the burst damage, but now Hellfire comes down. Yes, Totem Golem lives. Lothar picks up Feral Spirit straight away. And Pavel only has 10 health left. That happened really fast.
10 health left. Yes, that happened so fast. He will heal for 4, but Lothar has 7 damage on board, and of course,
Jade Claws are coming down this turn as well. Look at that, 9 damage. Pavel being put down to 5. Jade Lightning in Lothar's hand, ready to win the game next turn if Pavel doesn't pick up something right now.
We're about to see here. He could actually go with the Cascas actually and deal AoE damage and possibly survive. And get the armor or deal damage. 2 damage AoE, that's what he needed.
Is it even enough,
if he can pick up
he's got the armor,
4 armor, I think this will actually make him survive.
Yep. Only the Foul Spirits lives. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. Lothar is 1 damage off lethal and 1 mana off lethal. Thanos gets picked up, but he can't quite fit it in with the Jade Lightning.
Azure Drake, and I'll just go face. And then next turn, if Pavel does not kill this Azure Drake, then Jade Lightning will do 6 damage.
Lothar is going to be mortified.
The 5 damage should be enough.
Lothar is going to be mortified. If Reno Jackson gets picked up, there it is!
Oh, the
Pavel
Reno
gets
Jackson for
finally
Pavel.
On turn 6.
Yes, on turn 6.
And Lothar, as I said, looks...
Oh, Lothar's impression. Oh my goodness.
No memes appearing now. Lothar.
That might be the game winner.
Yeah.
That's the card Pavel needed to win this. And that's the power and skill of the world champion. Now Lothar just has to go for control now, and he has to take the board, I think, and burst your opponent down. It will take him at least 4 to 5 turns now, so he has to kill the 3-1 in without going face.
Let's be fair to Pavel for just a moment. Pavel didn't actually draw Reno Jackson in the last 2 games at all. So it's not like, Pavel always picks up Reno on turn 6. This is the first time. It just happens that it's come at the perfect moment, completely stopping Lothar. And Lothar was so close. And now, as you said, Lothar is still in the game, but it's going to take him a lot longer to win this. I wouldn't even be surprised if we see Thanos come down now and Jade Lightning take out the Reno. No, he's going to go with the 7/7 Flamey Faceless.
Thanos, he needs to draw, really. Yeah. And will he go face here, though? Oh, he goes face.
The timing...
So, he refused to play control, not even the slightest bit.
The time to trade has passed, Masan. Lothar knows it is time to hit the face.
Will that choice save him? I do not know. That is 9 damage face. Unfortunately, Lothar does not have any weapons, so the South Sea Deckhand is not charged, which he would like to combo with a Flanking Totem. It does have, however, the Jade Lightning for 4 and the Lightning Bolt for 3, which is 7 damage with the Soul Power, that's 9 damage. So he's only slight off the lethal, actually, if you think about it.
He
can
is.
just go for a Flanking Totem here, and then it'll be 9 damage, and then next couple turns, maybe another Lava Burst will actually bring Pavel close.
You're right.
Lethal.
You're right, and given that that Reno is gone, there aren't that many methods that Pavel has to come back. However, he has a taunt in his hand, he has a heal on the board, and he has a Faceless Manipulator if he feels as though he needs a second taunt or he needs a second heal. So
he could Faceless the 2-2.
He genuinely could. I think it's a possibility. Lothar actually going to deal with Reno Jackson here. That's interesting.
Because the actual Pavel will heal for another 4, which means he's a bit away from. Ooh, oh, that is an interesting pick.
Sure.
Pavel
Why not just?
I thought Pavel could actually trade his 2-2, and he will do that. Oh my goodness.
Pavel's showing he wants to win the game.
Oh man. I'm sorry.
He wants to win the game nice and fast.
I thought he was gonna actually take that 7-7 for 7-6, which it could, but then it also sacrifices a 2-1.
Okay.
Now he does have a Jade Claw, so he could actually charge for 4 damage.
Yep.
So I don't know how much it helps.
Puts
Knowing
Pavel
the
down
Pavel
to
can
15.
also heal.
Pavel has 4 healing. How does Lothar then deal 19 damage?
Looking pretty desperate for Lothar. He needs to get 2 Lava Bursts in a row. Not 19 damage, that is actually 23 damage because it will heal.
Right.
Pavel will heal himself for 4. That is a spell power. They could just Lightning Bolt here. But then his board will be cleared, everything but 1 will be cleared. And he still needs 2 cores, minimum, to have a chance
I
to kill Warlock
just
right now.
don't know how where Lothar finds this damage from.
Ooh, okay, he's just gonna go for control. He's gonna hope that Pavel doesn't have any AoE. Which he doesn't at the moment, but he does have a Dirty Red against the empty-handed Anchor Shaman. And he gets to draw with more and remove a minion with a 4 attack. Life tough saving.
Siphon Soul. Not even necessary right now. Dirty Rat.
No.
Enough defense for Pavel. Gonna deal with the Flame Tongue Totem because might as well play it completely safe.
Does help a little bit here against for Lothar. But then he can't even get through the taunt right now. The 2-6 taunt looking very strong. And it looks so desperate and just doesn't look right for Lothar. Pavel picks up 6 kill total here.
Lothar has managed to build up a very nice board, but it's kind of like too little too late. It's so demoralizing to see how close Lothar got, and just it really is the full potential of the Reno Jackson being realized there, being picked up on turn 6 and completely wiping out, well, not completely like wiping out, but really setting Lothar back to the point where it's very difficult for him to win the game.
Well, keep in mind that Pavel actually has the power of overwhelming and Leary. That's 10 extra damage. So, oh wow, he even he even heals his minion instead of himself. He's that confident here.
Yeah. He's just not.
Surgery comes down up on the air instead of down board, and will the Lothar draw into the portal he needs? That doesn't look like he did. I believe they have a bit of disconnection problem.
We have a nice
Hopefully,
a nice big Azure Drake on the side of the screen. Yeah, that'll go away in a moment, I think.
but we still see the Pavel picked up the taunt and also has a Sapphire Soul. Pavel doesn't have quite the damage, does he? 12 plus 6, 18.
No.
Oh,
he does he?
I actually don't know what Lothar got with the taunt. If
think...
Lothar has a taunt totem here, then Lothar will survive.
Yeah,
but if he doesn't, that is 28 damage that I'm counting.
this spectator glitch, unfortunately, has kind of... Yeah, it's completely shut the game down from what we can see. We're back on screen now, apparently, which is unfortunate because I know that you guys back home don't want to be looking at us. You want to be looking at the end of the game. I'm still pretty confident that Pavel closes this out. In fact, I'm seeing Leroy with power overwhelming, hitting Lothar's face,